All right, so we're through October. November's here. We're a couple days into it. Hey, it's election day. So, we had a real busy month at the agency here in October. Real grateful for that. A lot of great things happened for us, for our new product, for our partners, vendors, and MSPs alike. Excellent stuff. But now it's time for me to catch up on videos. And one thing that we have been talking about a lot, especially since we've been onboarding new clients, is my favorite topic. I talk about it all the time, and that's brand, creating a brand, managing a brand. Um, and I talk about it all the time for a very simple reason. If anybody were to ask me, hey, what is your specialty in marketing? What is the thing you do best? What is your favorite thing to do? What do you think you excel at? I would say branding. That puts me at an advantage and a disadvantage in the IT channel. The advantages, there aren't a lot of people in the channel that I've found yet that are extremely good at it, at branding. There's a lot of great digital marketers out there. There's a lot of people that understand, you know, HubSpot and emails and landing pages, sequences, and all these things. There's ton of people out there that know that. But I have yet to see very competent people in the IT channel exclusively that really know branding. So that puts me at an advantage. Now, here's where it also puts me at a disadvantage. The IT channel is very unreceptive to the idea of branding. Every client we've worked with, vendor or MSP, has thrown up objections, thrown up resistance to us talking about let's work on your brand. You're very technical minded people most of the time, and brand is not a super technical thing. It's an artistic, creative thing, it's an emotional thing. So I understand why people in the IT business often put up resistance to it, because it doesn't look like it directly translates to numbers. It looks like it's this fanciful marketing thing that we do for fun, but it's not. It's not. The world of digital marketing has changed the way people perceive marketing, not always in a great way. I've studied marketing my whole life. If you go back to my very first marketing textbook in college, or the first book I read, which was well before college, about marketing, um, the idea that brand can be separated from promotion is absurd. Marketing 101 is going to teach you that brand is part of what you need it to do effective marketing. So somewhere along the line, the popular consensus changed, and people think that you don't need branding to do marketing, and that is not true. That's never been true. And it's the onus is on myself. I am the brand expert. I need to convince people that no, this is something you need to work on. This is something you need to invest in. It's important. Stop saying let's skip it and go right to the emails. So I've explained it many times, different videos, different calls, different meetings, different webinars. I talk about branding. It often doesn't land. I mean, it's just very hard to get technical people to really buy into this idea. Now, I finally, last week, had a huge victory because we brought on a new client that I've talked to for years now about branding. Um, and again, I would always run into resistance with the idea, usually from the engineers, the developers, the very technically minded people in the leadership team would always say, we don't have time for branding, forget branding, what are we going to do for the marketing? For a marketer, that's a mind-blowing thing to say, because that is the marketing, but I understand where they're coming from. They want to see numbers, they want to see spreadsheets. So finally, I made this little chart, this little graph here, and showed it to them, did a presentation, and it clicked. They finally kind of understood, oh, this is why you won't stop talking about that. And it was a huge victory. It was a coup, because to get IT people that are super on that technical side of the spectrum to get this was amazing. I was so happy that this worked. It finally sunk in, and they acquiesced to, like, amazingly, yes, we want a brand. So I had to share this, and that's why I wanted to do this video. I also added, since then, some stuff that we're going to look at real quick, to further illustrate the point. But the main point is right here on this gradient, right here on this chart. So let's start there. What we have here is a gradient: red, green, green. Obviously, your business is going to sit somewhere on this gradient as I talk about this. And obviously, you don't want to be in red. Red is bad. Red's always bad. Or the red zone, bad. You want to be somewhere on the green. Most IT companies fancy themselves all the way over here on this green. Back in the early days of the MSP, a lot of MSPs were over here on the green, and I'll tell you why. because they were selling based on logical buying decisions. They had a tool, they had a solution that people needed, and that was it. That's all they needed. It was the better mousetrap. You know, they had it, people wanted it. There wasn't a lot of competition, so they sold. Back then, the only thing that your marketing needed to do was point people to your door. You know, the marketing needed to make them aware that you exist, that you're the place to go to get this tool that they need, and you would sell. That's why marketing, even 5 years ago in the IT space, was easier. It's not now. You can't use the same old tactics, because now you're not all the way over here on the green. If you're an MSP, there's too much competition. There's too much change in the market. It has evolved too much. You are not the only show in town by a stretch. I mean, I know some MSPs that have a dozen competitors in the same street that they're on. So obviously you are not unique. You are not offering a unique tool or solution, most of you. So that pushes you down towards this red. You have something valuable, but people can go get it anywhere. And you can't let that idea slip out of your mind. Remember that. You have valuable stuff that's great. It's awesome that you're proud of that. You have good customer service, whatever. You have a great track record. That's awesome. But that is not enough. You know, you have to let go of the pride of having the good stuff and realize that there's 1,000 other people out there that have the same good stuff. And that puts you in the red. That puts you in this bad zone because you don't have anything unique to offer. Now, the way you get all the way to this green, I kind of sum that up in this quote. What we sell is the only way to get the result. Most MSPs can't say that about anything. They don't have the only solution. They're all selling from the same list of vendors. We'll talk about that later. So you're pushed down to the red. Closer, not all the way to the middle, because you do have some valuable stuff, but you're certainly not leveraging this idea that you're the only show in town. So how do you can get to this side of the green, but I can tell you I've seen very, very, very few MSPs in my days in the channel that go this way. You go this way, this is where you start getting into messaging and identity being your strongest marketing asset. This is where you get into brand being a huge tool for your success, and there aren't many MSPs doing that, right? So what you're doing over here is you're trying to leverage the emotional buying decision instead of the logical. What you're trying to do is create a compelling identity and resonate with an audience. Get them to buy from you because they like you, essentially. I mean, that's the way to boil it down. And the phrase that I put there to sum that up is we have something in common. It's hard to really boil down the emotional connection that branding creates, but a lot of times it's just you're sending out a message, you're sending out an identity. You want somebody to feel connected to that so that they say, okay, everybody out there is alike, but I like this guy, I'm buying from him. That's what brand does, right? Over here in the logical side, the example I like to use is tools, literal tools, hand tools, wrenches. Those are very logical purchases. You have something that you need to do. You need to remove a bolt, remove this, that, or the other. You need to turn a screw. So you need a tool to do that. It's a very non-emotional buying decision, so you buy it. And you don't think about it. You don't need a colorful logo. You don't need cute taglines on it. It's something you need to do, so you buy it. MSPs used to be in that space because they had that uniqueness. Now the IT channel is super overcrowded, and there's a million people doing a million things and doing it cheaper. So you can't claim that anymore, right? So on the emotional side, the opposite of a tool, a purely utilitarian thing, I like to use the example of a clothing line or a high-end clothing brand. A t-shirt is a t-shirt, right? With the minor exception of quality from one to the other, material, stitching, whatever. There might be a few dollars difference in production cost from the cheapest to the best. But you could buy a $12 t-shirt or you can buy a $200 t-shirt from a high-end fashion brand, and they sell them. You know, it's not anything utilitarian that's making someone say, I'd rather have the $200 t-shirt. It's not like it protects you, you know, as you're walking outside any better than the cheap one. It's entirely an emotional decision. It is not utilitarian. You are saying somebody is seeing a brand and saying, I identify with that. I like that. I want to wear that on my body. I totally connect with this whole idea, this lifestyle. Boom, I'm going to pay $200 to wear that shirt. And as an industry matures, which the IT channel has, you need to start shifting over that direction to stay competitive. You need to start getting people to make an emotional buying decision about your company. Otherwise, they're not going to choose your company because there's just too many other choices out there. You don't want to be a commodity. And I promise you, the MSPs that go take branding seriously and start working on it are going to crush all the other ones that don't eventually. That's just how it works. Look at the history of any industry. So you're there. Start thinking about it. So you've got right now where you're sitting, your MSP, if I'm taking a guess based off of most of what I've seen, you're somewhere right here in the middle here in that red because you're not doing any branding. You don't have anything that's trying to compel anyone emotionally. And you don't have exclusivity of what you're offering. So you're right here in the middle. Like I said, nothing's stopping you from marketing from here in the middle. You could still send out emails. You could still work on your SEO. You could still do all that stuff. And that's what most marketing people are telling you to do. They're not telling you to work on either of these things that'll actually make your marketing better. They're just telling you to do the marketing. Well, you're doing it from this red zone. The red zone is bad, which means that every time you send out some promotion, this is what it's saying. Doesn't matter what it actually looks like. What it's telling the consumer is, we're telling you in the most mediocre way possible that we have nothing original to offer you. Sorry, but if you don't have a brand, that's what your marketing is saying. And you're paying to tell people that. You're paying a marketing person or you're paying a marketing agency to broadcast to the world that you're mediocre and you have nothing original to offer. Stop doing that. Get a brand first so that you're not paying people to go out there and tell the world, hey, we exist. We're an IT company and you know, we're here. Here's our phone number. But I mean, you can get what we have pretty much anywhere else. I mean, yeah, we're trustworthy. We have good customer service, but you know, that's it. I mean, you want to pick us, you want to give us your money. That's what your marketing says. It has nothing to it. There's no substance. You want to get out of there. Branding gets you out of there. To that point, what's under here? The way that you sell on this end of the gradient is solution-based features, you know, feature lists. This is the results you're going to get. It's the typical way B2B, you know, sales often go. It's definitely what the MSPs are taught to do nowadays still, is this, oh, we're going to solve this problem. Here's your pain point. Here's the solution. That's what you're taught. That's what you're all still doing, right? How do you sell over in this section? This is what we specialize in as an agency. You want to be compelling and you want people to identify with you. You want them to make an emotional buying decision, which, by the way, is also a higher retention way of securing a customer. Then you need to focus on what we call the 3 C's, something we pioneered. This is not out of a book. This is what we do as an agency. Culture, community, and causes. You want to focus on what does your company culture look like? What does the culture of your ideal audience look like? What do their communities do? What do they look like? Where are they? How do we integrate with those? What kind of causes does that audience support? How do we support the same ones? That's a big starting point for resonating with your audience. And it's something that most MSPs are not even remotely thinking about because they're still being told solution-based selling and features and what, you know, let's get this list from this vendor of all the cool things that their product does and show it to a client. It doesn't matter. All your competitors have the same list. None of that matters. So the good news is, now that you're in the red, and we've identified why, that you can get out of it, and that you can actually do both. You don't have to swing to either side of this. You don't have to forever forsake logical selling because now you're not unique, or you know, you don't have to completely focus on brand. What we do as an agency for our clients is we focus on both. We actually try to take care of both ends of this, because if you loop these around, you actually end up with like a triangle here. So at the bottom, when you're mixed among all of the other generic MSPs that are saying the same things that are absolutely meaningless, you're a commodity. As you work on developing exclusive offerings and developing your compelling identity, your branding, you move up into a more exclusive area until eventually you have an awesome brand. That's how you get an awesome brand. You have stuff that no one else is selling, and you have a fantastic image and culture and identity to back it up. You do both. We help you do both. So that's important to consider. You know, you should try to get exclusive things that no one else, that people can't get anywhere else, and you absolutely should work on your brand. These are not impossible ideas. These are things that we as an agency can help fix in a week sometimes. I mean, it's really not a big deal. The trick is that you need people that understand branding and understand product development and understand audience creation and segmentation, and know it as well as we do. If you get the right people that know this stuff, it's not a huge insurmountable chore the way other marketing agencies make it sound. Yeah, for them it's really hard because they don't know how to do it. So here we go. This is just something I threw into the infographic here in terms of, a lot of people think that they have a brand. They think that they have differentiators. So I actually took a selection of 50 randomly picked MSP websites. I looked through every one of them, and I looked for specific key things to see how unique their major talking points were, right? 86% of those websites, of those 50, said no geek speak somewhere on them or some derivative of that. Most of them actually literally said no geek speak. So, if you picture a consumer looking at these websites, they see that exact phrase on every one of them. So immediately they don't care about it. Trusted advisor, I hate that term now. Please stop using it. It was on 72% of the websites. Some mention of we're reliable or you can count on us. 100% of the websites said that. That it's something you shouldn't even need to say. I mean, they're hiring you. They're paying you to be reliable. That's your job. You shouldn't even be talking about it. But it was on 100% of the websites. And then some phrase along the lines of, we focus on the IT so you can run your business. Please stop using that one too. We do this so you can run your business. We do your cybersecurity so you can run your business, 89%. And then fast response times, 82% of the websites said they had fast response times. So the point that I'm making here is that none of these things make you stand out. None of these things are unique in any way. And none of them are your brand. They are just stuff that you do, and you do well, and really you're expected to do all of these well. So it's not unique or differentiating, it's your job. And now as an illustration, I wanted to put something here to kind of show the slight difference between what passes for marketing most of the time in the IT channel right now versus what good marketing actually looks like based on branding and differentiating yourself, just as an example so you can see what I'm talking about. So you've got, this is after looking at 50 websites, this is about as general as you're going to get. I actually see stuff that looks like this all the time. This is your super basic, common IT marketing, kind of like you might see us at the top of a website. You might see this on whatever, but it'll be like, oh, your trusted IT specialist, and then a list of stuff that you do. Completely unengaging. It's trying to play on the logical side of, somebody's going to logically say, I need an IT specialist. Let me look. Oh, they have this. Oh, great. That's what I needed. Let me use them. That's not how people think. That's not how the mind works. It's not how the market works right now. So this is old. Toss it out. You don't want it. Here's a better example of using marketing, not digital marketing in terms of tools and numbers, but the ability and skill of marketing and persuading people and connecting with people, using marketing to get a lead, to get a sale. You're not just saying, hey, we do this stuff here. Here's a list of stuff that we're going to have you pick from and where you're trusted. It's a picture. This is targeting a very specific segment. And I just pulled this out of the air and threw it together in like 5 minutes. So I'm telling you, this stuff is not really that hard if you know what you're doing and what you're trying to achieve. I just threw this together as an example. Here's a picture of a woman working on a dog. It's a vet. It's targeting veterinary clinics, obviously. We care about IT the way you care about them. You've just made an emotional connection. You've made them draw a comparison between you and what they do. That's a good start. And so now they're thinking, wow, I really care about animals, and these people, they treat my IT the way I want to treat animals. I like that. That speaks to me. Wow, amazing, right? And then underneath the tagline, care more and save money with our VetWorks service package. Oh, wow, they have something just for veterinarians. This is definitely the company I want to go with. Why am I even going to look at these other super generic people that don't know what they're talking about? I want to use the people that has the VetWorks service package. I made that up. It's meaningless. It's got a trademark on it, yeah, because I can do that. It is just a name. Now the MSP can bundle stuff based off what they think a veterinary clinic needs, and call it the vet work service package, and you now you have an advantage. You're putting yourself closer to this end of the green, because now if somebody goes looking around from this ad and says, I wonder who else does cybersecurity, data backup, productivity, and business VoIP, everybody, they're not going to see it. They're going to see everybody does that. But if they look around and say, who else has a vet work service package? Obviously nobody, because it's your exclusive offering. You created exclusivity. That's what you're supposed to be doing with your marketing. You're not supposed to be educating and informing and blah and blah and doing all this stuff that you're being told. You're supposed to communicate this. The point of marketing is to communicate, we have what you want and you can only get it from us. That's what you should be focusing on. You know, if I had to boil down what your marketing should be doing right now at this point in the industry's life cycle, it's this. You can boil it's a super oversimplification, but that's what everybody does. You know, saying you want to build trust, that's a simplification. Saying that you want to look like a trusted advisor, that's a simplification. And they're all very old simplifications that don't work anymore. What you need to focus on now is getting this message out to the people. We have what you want and you can only get it from us. So, with that in mind, when you start thinking about your brand, which I hope you will, when you start thinking about how you would rather be this than this, because you can tell from looking at this that this would make more money, when you see that and you say, I want to start doing that, I hope that you keep this in mind. If it is not unique to you or your product or your services, it doesn't matter. So when you're brainstorming and you're trying to think, how are we going to succeed in this market? How is our marketing going to get us out of this slump? How are we going to get more leads, more sales? And you start brainstorming. Anything that is not unique to you or your product, throw it out. And that makes it hard, because there may not be anything unique to you or your product right now. But that means you've got to come up with it. That is how you're going to get somewhere with your marketing. You know, and you can come up with branding, which you absolutely should, because you want to be up here. You want to have an awesome company. You want to have an awesome brand that has exclusive offerings and a compelling identity. So you want to start working on your branding and you want to work on your products. So that's going to get you where you're trying to get with your marketing. You know, all of the other stuff are tools. The emails, the numbers, the KPIs, this solution, that tool, that SEO, this thing, this landing page generator, all these millions of things that we could totally sell you on because they're supposed to revolutionize your marketing. They are not marketing. They're tools to get you from here to here, but you still have to use them correctly. And branding is how you use them correctly. And those who realize it will succeed in this. This is the change that we are undergoing in the IT channel that must be embraced. I'm telling you. And those are the clients that we bring on board, that we teach them this stuff. We help them with this stuff. We help them really differentiate. We help them create products. We help them really speak to a specific audience. They are seeing success, greater success than any of this ever did. So thank you for tuning in. I wanted to make that a real quick explanation of hopefully really nail down why branding is something you can't keep ignoring. Hopefully you learned. If you have any questions, please contact me. I love to talk about this stuff. Thanks for tuning in, and have a great day.